bring to your leadership. I had to do something because enough's enough. I'd like to start by saying a little, I'll give you the quick timeline of me. 2001, I got my first certificate in graphic design. Went to web design, UX design, UI design, conversation design. Now I'm mostly doing multi-agentic stuff and consulting. So that's kind of like the short version of a long road. This talk is inspired by a true story. The names of the company and the medication have been changed to protect the innocent, namely me. Pharmaceutical companies might as well be drug cartels. They're powerful, and I want to kind of just, keep myself off their radar. So like I said, true story. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So if you're a designer, a project manager, a developer, any of these, anybody whose name's on the release, a solution architect, this talk is for you. Most of this talk revolves around not just the voice agent, but the systems that are connected to it. So if you heard your voice agent isn't connected to any systems, you might want to go get a coffee. This might not be for you. So, like I said, the story is about a pharmacy. I've been using this pharmacy for years. It's a super simple process, usually. The doctor sends in the prescription, I get a text. We got your prescription, and then it's very simply, the medication shows up at my door. I don't usually even think about it. It usually just works. That's the promise of a connected system. You set it up once and it runs like clockwork, hopefully. So this is kind of what normal always looked like. The doctor would call it in, I'd get a text, I'd check out, and the meds would ship. No issue, easy peasy. When I was actually astounded at how simple it all was. Everything looks fine, same routine. Doctor calls in the script, text arrives, says it's processing, seen the text 100 times, everything looks fine. Some days pass, I'm waiting for the checkout link that always comes. It doesn't come, no follow-up text, no email, just silence. And at that point in time, I started to feel something that I call the dread. And I think everybody here knows what that dread is. When you have to call your insurance company, your cable company, your credit card company, like that feeling of, fuck, I don't want to do this. This is gonna go bad. You just know it. It actually has led to a new podcast that I'm doing called The Enshittification of America. Stay tuned for that. So basically the dread is kind of like when you know you're gonna have to do battle, right? And I knew I was gonna have to do battle. And you dread it. And knowing that, I get ready, I put on my mental armor, and I reach out. So first connection is chat agent number 1. I reach out through chat. The agent tells me, this is human chat, the agent tells me the doctor sent the prescription wrong. Okay. Nothing like says customer service like, this is your problem now. So I'm the one, I have to call my doctor, I have to explain what happened, they have to call the pharmacy and fix it. I get another processing text. Great, we're back on track. New set of silence. And now I've called my doctor's called the pharmacy, and I'm back at square one. The system looks exactly the same as it did before any of this happens, and there's no way to tell if anything actually changed. I like to call this same shit, different text. I go back to chat, again, different agent, human. She tells me there's no prescription on file. I show her the processing text, and she immediately folds and says, she doesn't know what to tell me. It should be processing, but there's no prescription on file, but I got a text. So she just kind of left me no resolution, no escalation, no next step, just silence. And you can kind of see the failures are starting to compound, right? finally, I decide I'm gonna call. No more chat. I haven't had a great experience with these humans on the chat line. I decide I'm gonna call. And I call, and it is the best voice agent I've ever spoken to. I mean, the voice itself was amazing. The timing was amazing. Everything about it was exceptional. It listens, it understands, it knew who I was. It diagnosed the problem better than the human chat agent did. It knew my doctor selected the wrong option on the form, not the wrong script, or the wrong option on a drop-down menu. It knew exactly what happened. It was the most impressive AI interaction in the entire story, and the irony, this company tried to recruit me once, and their recruiter said, I don't think so. I think the hiring manager is a little too conservative for you. And I said, yeah, probably good call. But in the end, it was probably the best for them anyway, and the best for me. But here I am, I'm still powerless. The agent was powerless, I'm powerless. Everything is going sideways. Nothing is working the way it was supposed to. Even though the agent knew what was wrong, it couldn't do anything. There was the smartest, most accurate touch point in the entire system had no authority to do anything about it. It couldn't push a correction. It couldn't contact the doctor. It couldn't override the form error. It just told me the truth and sent me back out into the system, and that has already failed me twice. So the most impressive node in the whole chain was the most powerless one. So I'm back to square one. So I'm back on the phone with my doctor. Call the doctor again. Doctor calls the pharmacy again. I get another processing text again. Same text I've been getting for a week. And at this point, I'm doing the job that their systems are supposed to do. Luckily, I have my doctor's phone number memorized at this point, and I'm the one carrying information back and forth between the people and the tools and the systems that are not talking to each other that should be. Me, the patient. Whose fault is this? Why is this all on me? Why am I delivering this information back and forth? And this to me is, I'll get into it. So I finally get, it ships. I get my medication a week late. That I need, my medication that I need is a week late because of that system. I still had to go through the checkout process. The system didn't fix it and move on. And the kicker, nothing ever acknowledged that anything went wrong. No apology text, no explanation, just a checkout prompt and the shipping notification like everything was completely normal. At that point, I'm relieved, but I'm still annoyed. So much of this could have been avoided. So let me be clear, the voice AI didn't fail. Everything around it did. The voice agent did its job perfectly. It listened, it diagnosed, it told the truth. The failure wasn't the AI. The failure was every system connected to it, and the fact it wasn't connected to them. The texts that contradicted each other, the chat agents with no visibility into the real problem, the form with the wrong option that started all this, the voice agent that was sitting in the middle of a broken ecosystem that nobody built in a way out. So I went, there's a bit of a framework to prevent this and fix it if it's happening. So I don't know, the term emotional debt has been getting thrown around a lot recently. And this is where you'll find several teachable moments throughout the rest of my talk. Emotional debt is what accumulates every time a user hits a wall your system created. Every wrong answer, every dead end, every time you have to call and start over. I just didn't lose a week of medication. I lost trust in a system I had relied on for years, and this is the kicker, that trust layer. You can fix that bug, but you cannot fix what the user learned on that one day, that one bad interaction. Trust is earned in droplets and lost in buckets. I know the image is a little perverted, but I wanted you to understand. This is a real problem. This is a real thing. I trusted this system for 2 straight years. It never failed me. It failed me once, and now it's a little bit of a nemesis. I'm not good with this. You lost my trust, and if I didn't need you, I'd probably leave you. And that's crazy, because 2 years of every month, everything being smoothly was undone in one shot. And that's the reality of these things that we're building, and the reason why we have to put money into testing and money into UX research and all the things that I feel like are being skipped in a lot of these projects. We don't even have UX researchers on most of these teams. We don't even have UX designers on most of these teams. And I can guarantee you, if there was a UX researcher somewhere on one of these teams, this would not have happened. When your connected systems contradict each other and you don't know what's happening until your customers stop coming back, it's too late. You need to catch this before it happens. I don't care what leadership has to say about timelines. Do it right the first time. It saves money in the end. I don't know what it's going to take to get them to compute that. So the next teachable moment is content debt. So content debt is what happens when your touch points contradict each other. One tech says processing, one agent says the doctor sent it wrong, another agent says there's no prescription at all, 3 different answers, 1 patient, no single source of truth. Your AI is only as trustworthy as the content it's pulling from, and if its content is a mess, the experience is a mess. It really is that simple. So I came up with this term, I posted it on social media, so it's real, human on the hook. I want to introduce the concept, even though I made it up, it's mine, and from here on out, if you say it out loud, you owe me $1. Human on the hook is here's what it means. If the AI is making decisions, the human behind that AI responsible for what it does, bad UX, someone on the hook. A chatbot that sells a $76,000 Chevy Tahoe for $1, someone is on the hook. A patient goes a week without her medication because your connected systems don't talk to each other, someone is on the hook. Right now, the customer is paying for it, but that needs to change. It should be changing. And I already saw talk, I don't know how much truth there is to this, that they're talking about AI liability insurance. The idea where your AI causes harm, someone is financially and legally responsible for it, that someone is not the AI. So who's it going to be? Who's it going to be on your team? Who's it going to be down the road? Is this insurance thing going to happen? We don't really 100% know, but human on the hook is conceptually what I think is your fall guy. It's your fall guy on your team. It's the person whose ass is going to get reamed when something goes sideways, when the CEO's wife can't get her medication for a week. So this brings me to testing, and testing is not one thing, and I've been on enough of these projects to know column 1 is the only one that gets any attention. QA is not enough. Almost nobody does real UAT on these AI products. At least none of the projects I've been on, they do it. They'll say QA and UAT, or no, you need to test 3 separate areas. You need to do QA, systems, and humans, right? The humans are the ones who decide if you're a success or not in the end. So I would really love to see teams that actually have these 3 different types of testing, not just a quick QA with whoever, like, you all know how it goes. You all been there. And if you haven't, thank your lucky stars. So another action item is you have to map your touch points. Before you ship, you fill out a document like this. Every touch point that touches that same customer data, every data source, every update lag, every owner, if you can't fill in a cell, that's not a documentation problem, that's a production risk. This is the table nobody builds until something breaks. And my point is, do it. Do it before you go to production. You can feel the frustration from being on teams that build these things. So if you're going to take one thing away today, take a picture of that, bring it back to leadership and say, we need to make sure, usually as a conversation designer, I would always kind of be the thread that would always kind of sew everybody together and be that one, who is that one person who is running through each of these things? Who is touching each point? Who is that connection? Who is the glue holding it all together? So outside of your human on the hook, You need to figure out who your glue person is. Who's going to glue everything together? Because this, if this was done by this huge pharmaceutical company, the story I just told would never have happened. Because every single system had something different from the rest. And that is just blatant laziness. So, I'll get off my high horse in a minute. 3 things to do Monday morning. If you don't have to fix everything this week, right? Like, you'll be lucky if you're allowed to. Do these 3 things. Map your touch points, your SMS, your voice, your human agent, your app, your portal. Put them in one diagram together, and then find where nobody owns the state. Who fires that notification, and does it fire from the confirmed state or the optimistic state? If you don't know, that's your answer. Then add 1 cross-channel test. Customer gets a status SMS, then calls in 5 minutes. Do you hear the same thing? Run it. If your voice AI says something different from your SMS, you have a production bug before you even launch. So these are the practices that I'm up here trying to instill and beg people, have a UX researcher, have somebody who's going to be responsible for being the glue. And lastly, to wrap it up, the best voice AI I ever used told me the truth. Everything around it lied. I lost a week of medication. Your voice agent will tell the truth too. Make sure you can say the same about everything it's connected to. Learn these skills yourself or put someone on your team whose job it is. Either way, somebody needs to be the human on the hook. Don't let it be your customer. And this is my little find me. If you like my shirt, my t-shirt store is going to launch in like a week or 2. I'm using it to fund my nonprofit, which is voiceofai.io, which I use it's an educational platform for people who want to learn the AI job skills of the future, mostly in design, conversation design, agentic stuff. All that stuff is on there for free in a really easy to kind of learn format. And I invite you all to buy a shirt and help keep designers from having to live in their cars, because I don't know if you've seen those posts, but they're happening all over the place. So yeah, that is it. Let me just double check. Voice of AI, Snarkitex is the shirts. Designathon, oh, that's my podcast. So I do Designathon, which is where we say heart and soul meets AI and design, and it is branching out into the enshittification of America, because I can't take it anymore. We all need to talk about it. And what else? And Elementyl Intelligence. So that was my company I started a couple months ago. If you know any leadership that has entirely too much hubris to be running a project, let me know. I'm your girl. I can get them straight. That's it. Thank you.